Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Chef Blatnick.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to welcome all you young athletes, you young wrestlers, those of you that are going to be training and competing here. And I'd also like to say hello to the older kids in the room as well. Improvement is the process of success, and whatever ladder you're climbing, you will get to the top. I became a wrestler as a sophomore in high school. That's when I started. And I didn't have a very good record my first year. But what wrestling taught me is important. Wrestling taught me I can, as opposed to I don't want to or I don't think I can. It taught me that if I worked hard, good things can happen. And above anything, I had, as a coach, his name was Joseph Bennett, the winningest coach in New York State wrestling history. He's won over 600 dual meets, and he was my initial mentor. And he taught me these very lessons. The last thing I want to talk to you about is, how many of you before you wrestle get nervous? How many of you before you're a wrestler say, I've got to win, I've got to win, I can't lose, I can't lose? Okay, put your hands down. I think that's fine. That's one way to look at competition. But what I always thought about, what was important to me was, I thought of competition like a stage. And what do people do when they're up on a stage? They perform. And what I always wanted to do was, when people didn't think I could, I wanted to say, let me show you what I can do. I wasn't afraid of the stage. I had my doubts. I kind of felt scared at times, especially when you know you're wrestling someone that's better than you. But at the same time, I realized I have a chance to perform. And even if I don't win, if I wrestle better than the last time I went out and improved, then I'm doing the right thing, and eventually winning will come. I finished 7-16 in my first year, and I stand before you saying, in my first year of actual sport, coming in last in wrestling, making a basketball team and going 0-14, I had no idea what winning was in sport. But what I did understand is what true failure is and what performance is. Failure is when you quit. And I know that because I actually did that with football. Losing isn't necessarily bad. If you were to stand up right now and wrestle me and lose by 1 point, are you a loser? Or chances are you wrestled a pretty good match. And that's the tough thing in sport, is lurking at what's improvement and what isn't. How many of you know what fear is? Okay. Motivation has two sides. It has love, your passion for what you do on one side. I love wrestling, I'll do anything it takes to win. And then you have the fear side. How many of you think NFL quarterbacks are fast? How many of you think NFL quarterbacks are running for their lives away from 300-pound linemen that want to bury them in the turf? That's fear. And fear can be a motivator. Wrestling will teach you to overcome doubt. Wrestling will teach you to overcome nerves. Wrestling will teach you to overcome fear. And you know what I don't like about fear? Everybody gets scared. I've been scared before a competition. And what it can do is it may hurt your performance because you're thinking about what could go wrong instead of thinking about what could go right. Do you understand that? It's going to be an important piece of what you're going to learn today. And in fact, I can prove it. I can prove it. I can pin one of you without ever putting you on your back. Who wants to find out how? Really? I'll tell you what. Come on up. Are your parents here? They're over there, so if I hurt you, I run that way, right? Okay. Have you wrestled before? You have. So you have experience. You've been in it 3 years. Well, what do you do before you wrestle? You have to shake hands. Now, what's my challenge? I have to do what? Without? Exactly. Are you ready to find out what's going to happen? I'm going to take this pin off my lapel and pin you with it. You are now with an Olympic pin. Congratulations, you're now pen without being put on the bench. Now, I can't tell you how many kids I've made turn green challenging them that I'm about to pin you. But you stood right up and accepted challenge. And that's what wrestling also will teach you. Nothing should be afraid. There's always a way to do it. The key is, are you going to be patient enough to learn? And the key to learning is some of the leadership that these kids will have. I met this coaching staff last year at the Canada Champs. They had some great clinicians. Carlton Hasselberg was a big heavyweight. I knew him. He got in the competition right after I finished competing. And then they had Kerry Collab. And I developed a whole new appreciation for Kerry because technically he's one of the best I ever saw teach clinics. And that includes myself, and that's tough to say. But Kerry was really, really good. Your coaches, certified, have some of the best in the country to continually learn from and get different options to teach kids. I think it's great. One thing you have to remember about coaching, and you kids remember this too, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. These coaches care about you, and they'll develop a relationship with you, and I hope you take advantage of it and challenge. In closing, I brought something with me. Any of you know what this is? And I'll tell you, this made it very, very clear in life. I went through every step of wrestling from high school on. Tried out for a junior world team, went to a D2 school, got to compete and become an All-American in Division I, and then kept going on to the Olympics. And at the Olympics, I was lucky enough to bring one of these home. And for me, as I told the newsman when he went away, I lost my older brother in a motorcycle accident, Dave. And that was hard on my parents, losing their first son. And then I contracted a disease called cancer, Hodgkin's disease. And I really felt bad for my parents, because now number 2 son could potentially be gone. But as it turned out, radiation, surgery, chemo, I came back. I started training again. And it was hard. People that I used to beat me. But I knew in my heart where I was. And I was confident that if I continued to train and got my body back in shape, things would work out. Well, right before I went out to wrestle, my mom whispered to me, "Do it for Dave." And when I went out there, I stayed calm, and I wrestled the match of my life. I stayed within myself and executed the plan that we had. And they gave me one of these. How many of you are hard on your parents? Really? You think you're a troublemaker? Let me tell you what. You go out and win an Olympic medal, all is forgiven. Once you accomplish, it's great, be proud, but set a new goal and work to achieve that goal. And remember, something that you can always win at isn't a challenge. It's when you have doubt, and you may be a little scared, and you overcome it, that you'll achieve something that you'll never forget in your whole life. So with that said, I wish all of you young athletes, boys and girls, the best of luck when you compete and train here with the Sparta Club. I don't know if somebody in this room may be on a mat wrestling for an Olympic gold medal. I do know at this Niskayuna, when I graduated high school, one of the wrestlers who I asked to sign my yearbook did write, "And when you win the Olympics, please include me in your book." People can see it. Sometimes you don't, but people can. Trust your heart. Trust your leadership. Good luck to all of you. And one last thing. If any of these kids want to get a picture, you want to take a picture with it on, I don't mind. Take as many as you like. All I ask is I get this medal back before I leave. And it's not like you have to worry about me. My mom will hunt you down. So with that said, thank you for having me. Best of luck.